Hi, this is Watkins and Osterholt. We're back again.
Hello.
Hi, what's going on?
Nothing much. How about you?
Uh, a bit of this, a bit of that. We'll get into that.
Okay. Well, I know it said we were going to start with news, but I just remember that we actually usually start with what we've been watching and what we've been playing.
Yeah,
So is that all right?
yeah, it's fine.
All right. So I guess just to knock it out of the way, as usual, I've been watching the latest in One Punch Man and the new Gundam series, Iron Blooded Orphans. But you said you haven't seen Iron Blooded Orphans yet, so I guess we can't really talk about that. And then um, you haven't seen the newest One Punch Man, right?
Yeah, I'm watching it after this.
Yeah. Uh, so I can't really talk about that. But as for what that's pretty much the only thing I've been watching besides this week's Arrow and Flash. Did you see those?
I did not.
Arrow was actually really good. I think it was probably the best episode of the season so far. It was a mid-season finale, so that's to be expected. But Flash was okay. It wasn't amazing.
Wasn't it
Uh,
something with Zoom?
yeah. It was weird. I don't want to say too much about it because you said you didn't see it, but
Yeah.
I mean it wasn't like anything like Barry and Zoom like fought or something. It was like you get a little more bit more insight into Zoom and like what's going on Earth too a little bit, and then his plans for Barry, and then it goes into the villain of. I don't know if you saw the preview for this week, but it was like three villains this week. It was who was it? The weather guy. Um, I'm blanking on his name. I don't want to say doctor something, but it's whatever his name is. The trickster and Captain Cold or Doctor Cold or whatever. You know, the guy with the shaved head that used to be in Prison Break.
Yeah. He was in what was it? He was in the second Blade movie too.
He was?
Yeah, he was.
Was that?
Yeah.
Or wasn't that his brother? Or the guy that played his brother? The guy I'm talking about was the younger brother of the two.
Oh. My bad. I thought you could talk about Dominic Purcell.
I'm talking about the guy that played that's in the Flash that's playing Captain Cold, I think is his comic book uh, title. The guy with the freeze gun, like knockoff Mr. Freeze, pretty much.
Yeah.
But he was interesting in that. Um, and the episode was all right, but I think Arrow was much better this week anyway. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much all I've been watching. What about you?
Um, been watching Ash versus Evil Dead and Fargo quite a bit.
Is Ash versus the Evil Dead a TV show or a movie? I thought that was a movie.
It's a TV show on Stars, kind of like
Oh, that's
happens.
why I haven't heard of it.
Yeah,
I don't know much about the Stars Network.
I don't either. It's the only thing that I've ever watched from Stars.
Isn't that also the same channel that has that pirate show,
Oh
Black Sails or
yeah,
something?
yeah.
The only thing I know about that show is the theme song. It sounds pretty cool.
I forgot I was supposed to check that out. I have to put that on my list.
Uh-huh. But that's all you've been watching was Fargo and Ash versus the Evil Dead?
One Punch Man, of course.
Yeah. What about any movies?
Any movies? I watched Equilibrium again the other day.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, I
And I haven't really been watching much on. I need to start getting back into watching Netflix. I've just been like watching YouTube videos and waiting for One Punch Man and Gundam. But what about what have you been playing? Any games?
I I recently started playing Grow Home again. I've started Kingdom Hearts, but I'm not very far, so there's not much to talk about. But Grow Home is very good. I don't know if you've ever played it.
I haven't played it, but I've heard of it. That's the one with the like the platformer with you're like growing what like a giant plant or something that you walk on.
Yeah, it's because like when you like when the game starts, where the mothership or whatever is seeding a planetary atmosphere, and that's the whole point of growing everything, is that you're seeding the atmosphere for more life, and you're the
Uh-huh.
robot that does it. It's fun.
Okay. Um yeah, I think I saw like a trailer for it. Um but I didn't even know that came out. I thought that was like well, I guess it would come out because I think I saw that in not last year's E3 but the year before that. But yeah, that's it for you. That's all you've been playing, with just those two.
Yeah, I just want to say though too, it's a really good rainy day game because you could 100% it in a day. It's kind of short, but you could keep messing around with it pretty much forever if you wanted to.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if that makes it more tantalizing. I just want to throw it out there.
It's on Steam, right?
Yeah.
I might check it out after I get through with my strategy game fix
Ooh, ooh, what?
because this week pretty much all I've been playing was the Crusader Kings 1, the complete edition, and getting ready for Crusader Kings 2, learning more about like the UI and stuff because that's like if you just dive in like head first into that, I think you'd be pretty lost because of how like the format of everything works. Um, and also that's pretty much the only PC game I've been playing. Um, Otherwise, for like consoles, I've been working on 100%ing Saints Row 3. I've gotten all the the main game stories, trophies since I'm playing it on the PS3. I've gotten all that taken care of. All I have left is like the DLC trophies, and then I will have 100%. I already got the platinum trophy for it.
Very nice.
And then I like I said last week, I've been playing the Ratchet and Clank series. I got a little bit further in the first game. I haven't beaten it yet, but I've been what I've been doing is like going through trying to get as um, many of the trophies as possible before because the way the Ratchet and Clank's games work, at least for I think it's the first two. I don't know about the third one. Is that once you complete the game, there's something called challenge mode, which is pretty much just new game plus, where you can run through and like have all your equipment and stuff already unlocked and your money carries over. And then that's what most people say to recommend to like just blaze through the story on the normal setting and then do challenge mode and then try to get all the trophies. But I've been doing the opposite just so that I don't know. It's just in my nature to try to complete a game as fast as possible.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do now with Dark Souls 2 because they have a similar setup in that game.
hmm Yeah, but that's pretty much. Let me think. Yeah, I think that's all I've been playing. Like every once in a while, I like go back to Pokemon for like a couple of minutes just to try to like breed a new Pokemon to be able to use for competitive. But uh, I haven't been playing it that much. Like I said, I've mostly been diverting all my attention to 100%ing Saints Row 3, which is a pretty good, pretty big sized game. There's a lot to do. I mean, the annoying thing the thing that I found the most annoying was like of course there are like trophies, but then there's like to get the trophies, there's like 3 specific trophies have to deal with like doing all the assassination missions, which I think there's like 30 of them or 36 or something, and then do all the vehicle theft missions, which there's 30, and then doing all the like mini challenges, which is stuff like travel 2.5 million miles, or no, 2.5 million feet, and like do a windshield canning, which is like having your character fly through the windshield for a certain amount of feet, and there's like 41 of those, and some of them take a lot of time, and some of them are like random, and it's all for one trophy. But I got that out of the way, but it took probably like 10 hours to do all that stuff. And the map's pretty big. It's like split into like 4 it's like one big city, but it's split into like 4 big neighborhoods that are then split into like 17 smaller neighborhoods. It's probably, the map size is probably the size of let me think, I would say like a little bit bigger than Arkham Knight. You haven't played that though, have you?
No, I have not. Not yet. You're making me want to play Saints Row though now.
I mean, I would recommend. I mean, if you just, I wouldn't recommend doing what I'm doing and trying to get all the trophies, because then you'll get really bored of it. But like, if you just do like one playthrough and do the story, because the story, I mean, Saints Row 3 is pretty much a parody of like open world games sort of thing, and the writing's pretty good, but the the combat gets monotonous after a while, because once you like upgrade every weapon, and there's not that many weapons. Once you like upgrade the weapons to the maximum capabilities, and then all you're doing is like mowing down people, it gets really boring. And like all the side mission stuff gets boring too. But like just the overall like driving around, flying around, and the actual story are all good. So if you were to do something like I don't know, like a one playthrough, and it lasts like maybe like 10 hours, it would be good. Because the only reason I've spent so much time is because there was also a trophy for like spending 30 hours in the game. But you could probably like blaze through the story in something like maybe like 5 to well, I don't know about 5, but like 8 to 12 hours or something like that. But yeah, that's all I've been playing. Was there anything else for you, or was that it?
Hold on.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. I don't know if you heard what I said. I was saying, was that all that you played also?
Well,
and should we move on to news?
Yeah, let's move on to news.
All right. So the first thing that I had marked was that apparently, since the last time we were on air, was that Dark Souls 3 got a release date for April 12th, 2016. And it also, with that information being released, it came in the form of like a trailer. Pretty short, like 2 minutes, just basic stuff, given like I guess just hints of what the story's going to be, and then actual gameplay, or at least like what gameplay looks like. And since I'm not like the biggest Dark Souls enthusiast, I was wondering what your thoughts on it were.
Well, I think it's interesting that it's talking about the fires fading, because in the first and second games, Dark Souls borrows a lot from Zoroastrianism and how fire is life and cold is death, which is why they have the whole bonfire mechanism, because it ties into that. And they have the Lord of Cinder or whatever, who sacrificed himself to keep the fires of the world burning or whatever.
Yeah, you kind of lost me because I haven't played any of the Dark Souls games, but I get what you're saying.
But anybody else, if there's anybody at all who hears this, they'll know. Even one person.
Yeah, I've been interested to play Dark Souls, but like it's like sort of on my list of games that I want to get. I've been thinking since this is apparently, from what I heard, the last of the main series Dark Souls games. I'm wondering if they're gonna like release like a compilation of all the games put together for the PS4 or something.
Seems possible.
Because if they do, then I'd buy it and then play them all at once. Otherwise, then I guess just have to start with Dark Souls 1 and then play 2 and 3 when it comes out.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say that's one of the reasons that I'm waiting on it, and just also the large amount of games that I have in my backlog that I haven't gotten around to yet. Like I still have to play, replay anyway. Final Fantasy X, the HD collection that came out for the PS3. That was like my top priority before I got into Saints Row 3.
Mhm.
And then I also have to play the Metro games for PS4. That was like my PS4 game now that I beat Arkham Knight and got like most of the trophies for that.
Did you ever play any of the Metroid games?
Just the original. I saw a friend play some of the what were they called? Metroid Prime games.
Yeah.
For the GameCube. I saw him play one of those like for a little bit, but at the time I didn't have a GameCube, so I didn't buy it.
Yeah,
And I haven't played it.
it's kind of like Zelda with guns in a way.
Yeah, well, no, I know what Metroid is. Like I said, I played the first one. That
Right.
was I guess NES, and then I got like the 3DS ROM version that they had on the Nintendo eShop, and I have it on my 3DS. I just haven't like played it that much, and like I'm like a big video game enthusiast, so I know all about like the history of Metroid. I just haven't played the games.
Here's a random question. You mentioned you had it on your 3DS. It was the one demo that they would give out, kind of like a sampler or whatever?
No, it's the full game, but
Oh,
it's the original game. It's I don't know if you have a 3DS, but there's a thing called the I think it's the E Arcade. Here, I can bring it up on my 3DS or something. It's like they had older games that were for like older systems, and then they like made ROMs and then put them on the eShop for people to buy. And I got mine because I had what's it called? The what was the old system called? Like Nintendo Points or something. Like with like after you would put in a code and you'd get a certain amount of points and then you could redeem them. Oh, Virtual Console is what it's called. Yeah, I have
yeah.
that. Yeah, I have that and Link's Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX. Those are the two that I redeemed.
Very nice.
Because I haven't played Link's Awakening. That's one of the few Zelda games I haven't played.
I think I played through like half of it on a friend's machine, and then
Yeah.
didn't see them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to replay that too.
Yeah, but getting back to Dark Souls, yay or nay on what you've seen so far?
Yay.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I just want to get your opinions because
Well, it's
you seem to be
there's
more knowledgeable on the Dark Souls series.
yeah. The thing about them is it takes like 10 hours to start to get used to the mechanics of the game. But like the first time I played the
Uh-huh.
first game, I thought it was like broken or something, but I was just
Uh-huh.
terrible.
I've heard that a lot.
But it seems like it's gotten a little faster from some of the things they've shown. They've shown a little bit of gameplay from the I think it's the
Yeah, I did
PS4
get that
beta.
impression.
Hello.
Just
Hello. It's very quiet. It seems like perhaps the internet is failing us.
James.
Are you saying James or Games? I don't know. It was really cut up.
Saying James. Can you hear me now?
But ah.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello. Hello. Hello.
James, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
don't
know if
know.
that was
It
on
just
my end or.
yeah. The signal just dipped out. Your voice just cut out completely.
I don't know. Because I checked my connection. It said I was still connected.
It's probably just the government or something. I don't know.
Reconnected. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Saw I was talking about like Metroid or something and decided to come after me. But yeah, that was pretty much all I wanted to say on Dark Souls. Was just news stories I had was more on Final the remake. I don't know if did you see the new trailer for it?
For
The gameplay trailer?
I've seen like a little teaser video of the trailer. I haven't watched it yet. I honestly think I'm just gonna wait until it comes out because I didn't get into Final Fantasy VII as much as everybody else. Even though I liked some of it, it wasn't my favorite. So I'm excited that this is happening for sure. Wait, what?
Okay. I don't know what's going on now.
What the hell?
Because that time it wasn't my internet, it just kicked me out of the call. And I was looking at my internet, so I know I didn't lose connection. Maybe it's I don't know. Either way, let's try to work through it. Like that was all I wanted to say about Dark Souls, was to just get your opinion on it. And then moving on to my next topic I had was, well, not the next topic, but the next news item was, did you see the new trailer for Final Fantasy VII, the remake that they're doing?
I've seen a teaser of the trailer, but I haven't actually seen the whole trailer all the way through.
Because the one I'm talking about is the one that they showed where it actually showed like combat and a little bit of like their redone story. It's I think it's like 3 minutes or something long, because the one that they had at E3 was pretty much just like the tease saying, "Hey, we're doing a remake of Final Fantasy VII."
Well, it's cool.
But
I mean,
I was just gonna say that it showed. I'm positive that it's probably still in really early alpha, because it looks like what they did was just took the Final Fantasy 15 combat, which was taken from Kingdom Hearts, and then repackaged it into the game, and then they had some like probably like really early cutscenes and graphics and put it into a trailer. I don't know why they released it this early though, because I have a feeling that game's not coming out for probably another year and a half at minimum.
I think I know why.
Because why?
Well, it's
They
how
just want people to stay interested.
well kind of that, but it's like how back when they showed they had like a sort of a tech demo show off, like they were going to make a Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah.
They're probably
So that
figuring listen, they're probably figuring that all the people who got excited for that aren't going to care if the graphics for this game aren't quite as done, because they've had so much nostalgia for a game that was obviously graphically lower from the original game.
I'm not saying the graphics weren't done. I was just saying that it's obviously going to be an early alpha because the game's not done yet. But the
Yeah,
graphics looked fine. Um, what I was saying was what it seemed like what they did was they took together like the beginning of the game or like parts of the beginning of the game and then like uh, combat and then like put it together under a trailer to show off. But what I was saying was I don't understand why they showed it so early because it's only been a couple of months since they announced that they were doing a remake of Final Fantasy VII, and it seems like um, what I was saying. It just seems weird that they had a trail that they're already like showing a trailer for it when the game's probably not going to come out for another like uh, a long time because their upcoming slate is Final Fantasy 15, which is no one doesn't have a release date yet, and is set for probably the end of next year. And then there's Kingdom Hearts 3, which is somewhere the year after that, probably. And then there's going to be the Final Fantasy 7 remake.
Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah, I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on the trailer or opinions about them doing the remake.
Well, I'm glad they're finally doing it, because
Yeah, I
because
mean,
it's like
I
I've
was just gonna
finally
say
seen
I don't
something.
think people. I was just gonna say that I don't think the Final Fantasy VII fans would like being jerked around so much because it seems like there's been like multiple times where they've shown like a up-resed version of Final Fantasy VII, and then like a couple days later they say we're not doing a remake, we're not doing a remake, so don't get too excited. So it seems like, and of course it's one of their biggest like money makers. So it was only a matter of time before they actually went all in and decided to remake it.
They know what they're doing.
I
They know how to toy with
mean,
their emotions.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was really hyped when that happened in E3 because you didn't see E3 live, did you?
I did not.
The last year's E3. Yeah, I saw it live, and that was crazy. Sony was just dropping bombs left and right. It was probably the best E3 presentation ever, to be honest.
Of all time.
Yeah, probably.
Of
I mean,
all
because
time,
just think
William.
about it. Like,
That's a big
just think about it.
statement.
They opened the show. They opened the show with The Last Guardian. They had a bunch of um, sequels and stuff that everyone was already excited for. Then in the middle of the show, they have uh, what's his name? Uh, it's so weird because it's the same guy that like announced that was on stage when they announced Kingdom Hearts 3. Andrew something I think, or Adam Boyes I think is his name. And then they toyed with everyone's emotions with the um, Final Fantasy Adventurers or something, the little chibi game with like the chibi characters, or World of Final Fantasy is what it was called. And they got on stage and were like, "We have a new game from Square coming out," and then it had like the an opening text, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, is this in another new Final Fantasy?" And then it was like, and then it like opened with like these little two chibi characters walking around, and everyone was like, "Ah, what the fuck is this?" And then right after that trailer, they like had like the live stream in the background on the monitors, and then they announced Final Fantasy VII, and everyone was going crazy during that. And then like they had some indie stuff, and then right after that they had Shenmue 3 announced.
Yeah.
And there was more stuff. And then at the end of the show, they had Uncharted, which I don't really care for. But like from just a general audience perspective, that was a really crazy E3 presentation. That's what I'm saying. It's probably the best of all time because of just how much bang for the amount of time that they had in there. I mean, in Xboxes wasn't like nothing. I mean, they had a bunch of stuff like announced, like backwards compatibility. I don't know if you saw, there's Rare Replay, which is like a compilation of like most of the Rare games, and it was only like for like $15 or something. If I had an Xbox One, I would have bought that day one, but yeah. So they had a good press conference, and then Sony just came in like gangbusters and stole the show pretty much. And this was the same E3 that had the new Doom game and Fallout 4. So that's what I'm saying. It was like the only thing that was missing was the new Zelda and like a new Metroid game, and it would have been like the best E3 ever of all time. That would never have been topped.
Yeah, every time you mention
or Half-Life 3, that was the other rumors. Like now, during the Sony press conference when they announced like Final Fantasy 7 and then Shenmue 3, everyone was like, "Oh my god, Gabe Newell's gonna come out any second now and just." Announced Half-Life 3, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, because it's not going to happen for like another 6 years or something.
Yeah, no. That's another series that I never really got into, was the Half-Life series, but I was never really like the biggest PC gamer. If you're the only other thing I had to add about the Final Fantasy 7 remake was I was reading some articles, and apparently do you know CyberConnect 2, the company that does the Naruto Shippuden games, the fighting games?
Vaguely. I've read an article here or there.
They're apparently connected with the game and helping, I guess, Square tighten up the combat or something. I don't know why they would. I guess maybe just the overall like look of the combat, because I don't see why Square would need help from them combat wise, seeing as the combat so far looks very similar to Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts. And there's also the confirmation that they vaguely said that other developers were also helping them build the game, so it's not just all in-house Square. Apparently, other companies are helping them with it, which is interesting. I wonder. It would be really interesting if, like, all of a sudden, like, Rocksteady's involved with it also. And then there's also the confirmation that it's using the Unreal 4 engine. So it's going to look pretty, I guess.
It's like a super group coming together to form this game.
It was like Square's been doing that a lot recently, I've noticed, because when they announced Nier 2, it was the people that previously did the Nier games and the Drakengard games, and then also Platinum Games, and then which is like a weird combination, and but they came together to make Nier 2, which is another game I'm hyped for, and then. I can't think of any others right off the top of my mind, but it seems like they've been doing that a lot recently, working with other companies, because usually those big Japanese companies usually are more insular and are really protective over their franchises. Like if you just look at Nintendo, that's one of the main reasons that the Wii U had so little like third-party support, is because I guess Nintendo was like really protective of other developers working on their games. But if you don't have anything else to say on Final Fantasy VII, I can move on to the next news item if you want.
Carry on to Article 2.
Since we're inundated with like 3 major comic book movie trailers, I just want to get your thoughts on them. The 3 that I'm talking about is Captain America: Civil War, Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, and recently, I guess it was Thursday or Friday, they released the X-Men Apocalypse trailer. Have you seen all three?
I have.
Okay, so I'll let you go first and give your thoughts on it before I give mine.
Okay. I just watched the.
Oh, and we'll start with just to make it easier. We'll go in order from. We'll do Captain America, Batman vs Superman, and then X-Men Apocalypse. I guess just so I wasn't like just throwing it out to give your opinions on all of them right away.
Well, anyway, Civil War. I don't know if I like the direction that it seems like it's going in, because I feel like the original storyline was a little better and broader, and I don't know, it would just make more things I want to see happen on screen happen. And this just seems like it's trying to make it more of a face-off.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, out of the three that we're talking about, it's probably the one I'm the least interested in. I don't know, just something about it really bored me through most of the trailer. I mean, I'm probably gonna end up seeing it just because I want to see Robert Downey Jr. interact with I'm blanking on the guy's name. That plays Steve Rogers. Is it Chris Evans?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I just want to see them interact because they have good chemistry. But yeah, the whole Bucky storyline and then that mixing into, I guess that being the catalyst for Iron Man and Captain America to be like fighting, because I guess Tony Stark's on the side of the government and trying to bring Bucky in for answering for his crimes or something. It doesn't really seem like something that would cause like everyone to fight each other over. That seems like something that would be like a side story in like the next Avengers movie to get Captain America all of a sudden finds out that Bucky's still hanging around and running from the law, and then decides to help him, and then Iron Man shows up and they fight for a little bit, and then I don't know. I guess this time then it would be Thor showing up and preventing them from fighting. But I don't know. I'll wait to see if when they do another trailer, maybe give more details on the actual story or something. But as it stands right now, I'm probably gonna wait on that movie.
Yeah, same here. But one thing that might be interesting is if the trailer was a farce to some degree, because I know that Spider-Man is supposed to be in this too, and there's a few other characters that they haven't really shown, and I'm wondering if they are just playing up the face-off with Tony and Steve Rogers.
Yeah, I wonder that too.
So that they have more to reveal, which is kind of what I'm hoping for, which is the one thing.
Yeah, but what else would there be though? Because
I don't know. It's just that's why I'm saying like I don't know. Maybe.
Because they showed the beginnings of, I guess, what's the Hero Registration Act or something similar to that, because I don't know if that's the actual direction they're going, but they had the guy that was the general in the Incredible Hulk movie show up and talk to, I think it was Tony Stark, or no, it was Steve Rogers, and pushed a new law or something towards him, and it was like a big looked like a lot of pages. So I didn't catch what was written on it on the front cover, but that seems to imply that there's something similar to what the Hero Registration Act was in the comics. But I mean, I don't know what else they would have. Like at the end of the movie, what's his name shows up? Not Galactus. Who's the villain that they've been playing up for?
Thanos.
Thanos? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems to be like the only other thing they'd be holding out for if they were going to do something else with that movie besides the basic Civil War storyline.
Well, yeah. Because
Doesn't
Infinity.
I was just gonna say, yeah, but I think there's a couple other Marvel movies before then. But I think the way this, I don't know if they have plans for the guy who plays Steve Rogers through continuing on through the Marvel movies, because I know, wasn't it in Civil War that he gets killed or something, or assassinated at the end of the comic, if I'm remembering it correctly.
I'm not certain. It's been a while for me as well.
Yeah, well, that would be I guess, the other shocker or something, I guess, at the end of the movie. But yeah, did you want to move on to Batman versus Superman?
Yeah. All right, so this one might be my top. Like, I'm most likely to see this one out of all the other ones. It looks good, and I don't know. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor is sort of growing on me. I wasn't sure about that at first, and I want to see how Doomsday turns out, because I don't know, feels like there might be something missing about his look. And
yeah,
you remember the part when Batman was in the desert and there were all those like machines or something that flew over him?
Yeah, I've heard a reference to that being like the Minions, Dark Side and stuff.
Yeah,
I forget what they're called. Like, what?
What?
I thought you said what they were called, because I forgot what they were called. The New Gods or something. I forget what their Dark Side's group of people are.
Yeah, I do not remember the name though. But hello?
Yeah, I'm still here. I thought you were saying something.
Oh, yeah, it got really quiet. But,
yeah. Yeah, I know. I do talk a lot.
Anyway,
yeah, but my thoughts on the trailer so far is okay. Right out the gate, I don't really care about Darkseid, or not Darkseid, Doomsday. I wouldn't really care one way or the other if they kill him off at the end of the movie or something. I don't know. Doomsday's just never been that interesting of a character to me. It seems like what they're doing is having him be like something that like forms at least the first three members of the Justice League to then continue on to the actual formation of the Justice League. And I've heard some rumors that might not even be like the end of the movie. Like that might be something that happens in the middle of the movie, which would be really strange. It would seem like almost like a 3 or 4 hour movie if that would be like in the middle of the movie. But as far as you were talking about Jesse Eisenberg, he's grown on me too. Like I never really had like a huge attachment to Lex Luthor besides in the cartoons. But as far as like live action and stuff, I didn't really care one way or the other. Ben Affleck is looking better and better as Batman. Henry Cavill, I never had any misgivings about him being Superman. So the cast looks good. Gal Gadot, I don't know. We haven't seen her speak at all, so I don't know really how she'll be in the movie. She looks good though. She looks Wonder Woman-y. Yeah, and like you were saying, it's probably the movie I'm looking the most towards, just because it's like the first like big team movie from DC, and something that looks to be the movies going forward are going to be predicated on. And also it's Batman versus Superman, so it's like huge geek out moment. Did you have any other thoughts on Batman versus Superman, or do you want to go into X-Men?
I was kind of wondering about what we've seen from the trailer that gives us like the time frame. Like you mentioned how you'd heard something about like maybe the scene with Doomsday happening like halfway through the movie, or were you talking about the Justice League forming?
I was just talking about rumors, because I heard like some people complaining that like the trailer gave away the whole movie, and then other people were saying, well, you don't really know that because that could happen midway through the movie, and then there could be other things happening at the end of the movie. I don't really know. It did seem to pretty much give like the bare bones of like what the story's gonna be. And like first act is Superman and Batman interacting, them having some conflict, and then Superman winning, and then Batman forming the armor or something to take on Superman again. Or well, that was the other thing. Did you notice when Batman was fighting Superman, when Doomsday showed up, he was in his normal outfit, but then in all the previous trailers, what looked like the final clash between them, he was wearing the like armor.
Yeah.
So that was one of the reasons people were speculating that like the Doomsday stuff might be happening in the middle of the movie, and then like the actual like Batman fighting Superman in the armor happens at the end of the movie.
Maybe.
I don't know. The whole timeline of it seems kind of weird, but it does seem like the basic story anyway is understood now by the audience, because they pretty much like most people are saying. I don't want to say they gave away the whole movie, because they didn't. They gave away the basic storyline of it, which, I mean, to be honest, you can figure out the basic storyline of most movies going into it just by seeing the trailer. I mean, like, the only other movie recently that really hasn't given away the storyline is Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like pretty much all the other trailers have given away what the story is going to be for their respective movies, anyway.
I wonder if that like how that affects like ticket sales. I wonder if people like actually need it to be like given to them to that degree. I don't know.
Do you watch any movie news channels, like YouTube channels, like a Collider Movie Talk and stuff like that?
Nothing like that recently.
They do a lot of that insider type of talk and discuss that. I've heard it theorized that for like general audience, like people that don't read the comics and are just like looking to go see a movie, a lot of the ticket sales are predicated on like actual like trailers and like how the story is gonna go and stuff. I can't really speak to that, because I'm one that like, if I see like one trailer, I can figure out what the movie's going to be, or if I know the source material that the movie's based on, I already know what the movie is, and if it's something I like, I'm going to go see it anyway.
Fair enough.
So X-Men.
Right. So this is probably this is my second movie. I'm second most excited for this one, but I'm unsure about it. I like the last movie quite a bit, but I feel like
Days of Future Past.
Yeah, that's right. But Apocalypse looks a little weird to me.
Ivan Ooze.
Yeah.
Do you get that reference?
No.
There was a villain in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. The main villain was called Ivan Ooze, and he looks very similar to Apocalypse.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah. My whole thoughts on the trailer is I am excited for it because I really like Days of Future Past. Yeah, but Apocalypse does have me kind of weary because the guy that I have playing him is not what I would imagine Apocalypse sounding like. He just sounds like an average guy.
Right.
And like in all the previous iterations, it seems like Apocalypse at least had like like a distinguishing voice. Like in the games, he had like a really deep voice. I think in the cartoon, he had like sort of like a typical comic book villainish type of voice, but it at least sounded different from like the average guy. This one, he just sounds like if like any random person just showed up at a movie screening and then they took his voice and used it for Apocalypse. So I don't know. Yeah. Besides the whole Apocalypse thing, I'm excited for the movie.
Yeah. I'm hoping
which
that
I guess doesn't. I was just gonna say, which doesn't really spell well for the movie if the actual name of it is X-Men Apocalypse and half of the title has me weary. But you were saying?
I'm hoping that we can at least get enough X-Men movies to end up in the Savage Land at some point, because that's probably my favorite setting. Do you remember the name of the pterodactyl looking fellow in the Savage Land?
Not off the top of my head. I can probably do a quick Google search.
Sauron. It was Sauron.
Oh, you found it already?
Yeah.
Oh. You said Sauron?
Yeah. But I'm hoping that we either get the in the movie after this or we get it in this movie, because I know that they go to hide in the Savage Land at some point when the world gets a little destabilized.
Yeah. I'm interested to see that. I mean, they already. They already did a lot of what I liked in X-Men. Hopefully they do. I don't know how they work in. Because I know. I don't remember off the top of my head. Was Days of Future Past only in the cartoon, or was that also a comic series or a comic storyline? Is what I meant to say.
Yeah, it was a comic storyline.
All right. Yeah. Because I know in the there was a cartoon adaptation of it, but because I was going to say I don't know how much of the actual comic storylines they've done, because they've done a little bit from like the cartoons, and so I don't know. I guess what I'm really saying is I would like to see the X-Men cartoon again.
Yeah, it's great.
I need to go back and rewatch some of it because a lot of it's vague in my memory anyway.
Did you see? Do you remember Days of Future Past in the cartoon?
Yeah, I remember the cartoon storyline where it was sort of like the opposite of what it was in the movie, where instead of them sending Wolverine back, wasn't it Katie Pryde going back in time? Or is that the comic series?
That is more like
in the comic.
Yeah, that's more like the comic, if I recall correctly. And in the cartoon, it was Bishop.
Oh, yeah. So I really need to go back and rewatch the cartoons because
it was basically like Terminator, where Bishop was like the Terminator in a way.
Yeah.
Except he didn't kill them.
Yeah.
He came in and he said he was just screaming the whole time. I have to save the future.
Come with me if you want to live.
Yeah.
But do you have anything else for X-Men, or do you just want to move on to topics? Because I don't really have much left to say about the X-Men movie besides tentative, sort of excited.
Hey,
I guess that's a no.
hold on. Say that one more time. Just
I was just saying if you had anything else to say about X-Men, or did you want to move on to your topic? Your first topic, anyway.
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay, so what's your first topic then?
I want to talk about optogenetics. Have you heard of optogenetics?
I have, but you might want to give the basics to, like, if anyone's listening here. 1 second, I'm gonna mute while you explain what it is for a second.
All right. So, optogenetics is a combination of optics and genetics, and it's a biological technique which you use light to control cells in living tissue, usually neurons, and you can basically genetically modify the neurons to express light-sensitive ion channels. So, basically what you can do is you can take information from the brain, you can send information back to the brain, you can make feedback loops. It's basically a tool to engineer brain tissue. And I don't know, I was kind of thinking along terms of sci-fi, like in a few hundred years, what could come of a field like that kind of integrating over time with other fields in science? Like what could you, like I just want to speculate, like what could you do with something like that? Because it's pretty interesting, pretty powerful tool, kind of scary, but neat.
All right, I'm back.
All right, did you get any of that?
I got the very end of what you were saying.
I see.
But, this is the thing you were telling me about earlier, right?
That's right. Yeah, basically this guy named go ahead. Sorry, what?
I was just saying to let you go on.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, there's this guy named Garo Meisenbach who figured out how to take photoreceptors and he cultured them and made it so that he could basically program fruit flies. He could trigger their different reflexive actions from light. So it was like he had a rudimentary form of mind control that he made there, just pretty crazy. And they're actually using it right now to take images of the brain in real time, which has been pretty hard to actually take images of the brain in real time. Almost impossible before. I'm hoping that.
Well, that sounds. I was just gonna say that sounds interesting. I don't. I don't know how advanced it is. It seems like have they only tested it on fruit flies though? And like you said, taking images of the brain, I guess the human brain.
Right. And actually, they've moved on from fruit flies. They turned the techniques over to MIT, and this guy named Ed Boyden came up with new techniques from things he found in plant cells that he could manipulate and add to what you could do with it, so you can actually program more complicated brains now.
Sounds like we're heading towards some kind of dystopian future.
Yeah, I know. That's what I think about. It's funny. There's like a little video cast where somebody's interviewing Ed Boyden, and he's like, in the middle of the interview, he asks him, he's like, so basically what you're doing is you're playing God. And Ed Boyden just doesn't say anything at all. And he's like, well, if you want to call it that, sure. If that's what you think.
That seems a little weird because even in like in most I don't know about other religions, but in most Christian religions, God isn't controlling your every action. But I don't know if that was the best analogy to use.
Yeah, because actually in the Bible, when Pharaoh's chasing Moses, Pharaoh gives up chasing Moses, and everybody's going to be okay. And in the Bible, it literally says, and then God hardened Pharaoh's heart, so God literally took over his free will and made him go after Moses again after he decided not to. What the hell?
Mm-hmm. Well, I wasn't saying like I wasn't saying in those in the Christian religion that God couldn't control someone. I was saying most of the time, at least, it seems like he's more of like giving people a choice and then playing like a like sort of like an arbiter of their decisions going forward. Whereas in this, it seemed what you're talking about seems like more of a science-based form of mind control. Is it limited to just like one-on-one use sort of thing, or are they developing it to be sort of like a mass control type thing? Because that's when you start getting into like doomsday scenario stuff.
Yeah, I know that they can take there's ways you can actually read images out of the brain. Like if you pictured something in your head, they could take that picture you're picturing and show it to you.
That seems pretty advanced.
Yeah, I know, right? I was just like, what? How does this?
Yeah, that I don't even know how that would work. Are they doing like is this like they're scanning the person's brain, or they did like surgery on them before then, or something to like put readouts on them, and so they could get like, or I meant to say so they could get readouts, or is it something like where they have like a machine that scans the person's brain and then they show them the images or something? I don't know.
I think what it is they do a bunch of little genetic changes in the cells first to make it more capable of receiving and sending out information through another device that converts the information from the brain.
Okay.
Something like that. It's all pretty complicated. I don't claim to be an expert, but it's interesting, and its potential for abuse is probably enormous.
Yeah. Just thinking about it, it seems like one of the immediate uses for that would be something like some kind of like trial or something where like someone's accused of a crime, and then one of the tools that could be used is sort of like, this seems like an advanced lie detector sort of thing, where like they could like ask him a question. But you said they had to like change their cells to begin with to make it easier to read.
I think so.
Well, but, still work to be done then.
Yeah, right. Even so, they can at least image the brain really well with it. So it's like, you know, I don't know, what was it, like Jeffrey Dahmer or something like that, where they were trying to like argue that he didn't have mirror neurons in his brain or something like that, so that he like couldn't be held as accountable for his actions. Like I feel like
I haven't heard that for Jeffrey Dahmer, but I wouldn't put it past it. Was Jeffrey Dahmer the one that represented himself, or was that someone else? Well, I mean, obviously that was someone else, but as far as like famous serial killers go,
I'm not 100% sure.
uh,
I wish I could.
I don't know. I get some of those serial killers mixed up because I don't know. Was he the one that was like gay and or not, or maybe not gay, but like he would sleep with other men and then kill them and then like eat them or something?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
I didn't hear that part of his defense. I mean, I did hear about him pleading insanity, but anyway, was that all that you had for your first topic?
Yeah.
All right. My first topic is pretty open, because basically I just wanted to get your opinion on esports in general, and then like if you watch any of them, like you know what I'm talking about when I say esports, right?
No. Wait.
Stuff like
Is it just competitive gaming?
yeah, pretty much. Like when people say esports, most of the time they're talking about like competitive Dota 2, League of Legends, CS:GO, StarCraft 2, stuff like that.
Oh. Well, I guess I kind of know what you're talking about then.
Yes, I just wanted to get your opinion on if you watched any of them or
Uh,
any of the tournaments and stuff.
the last time I watched anything like that was maybe like 3 years ago, and I went through a phase where I was watching stuff like that for I don't know about 3 months, where I did it intensively, and then I don't know, I just dropped off.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm sort of in that phase. I mean, it's not the only thing that I watch, but I do watch a lot of competitive Dota. I don't really watch League of Legends that much, but I don't even remember if I've watched a tournament. But and then I just started getting into watching CS:GO matches. They're a lot faster than like actual Dota matches most of the time, especially the like big tournaments for Dota 2 last several days. Like the previous biggest tournament was the Dota 2 major that was in like Frankfurt, I think it was, and that was like an 8-day tournament or something.
Wow.
Each day being like 11 hours. And I watched I think 6 of those days because then I found out who won and like how the tournament played out, so I didn't continue watching it. But yeah, it was a lot of Dota. But yeah, there's like a esports are interesting because it's sort of like watching a you're watching like an actual tournament that lasts like several hours or even several days. It's like a prolonged sports event. They're doing as far as like esports in general is concerned, it seems like it's getting more uh, what's the word? I don't want to say more proficient, but the esports scene in general seems like it's been coming along. At least like back in the days of like Evo being like looking like it was in an arcade or something, or in like a rented out room in a Las Vegas hotel or something. Well, which it still is, but it seems like there's more rooms now at least. And for like the big games like Dota 2 and like League of Legends and CS:GO, they rent out like a whole coliseum and have major events, but esports is interesting, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I actually used to have a dream when I was like 14 that I was gonna just get a warehouse, convince everyone that I knew who played video games to come live with me in the warehouse, pay rent for it, divide the rent up, and have like just tournaments like that all the time.
Uh
Obviously, that didn't happen, but
huh. That would be a really interesting life to lead. I don't know.
yeah, in my mind's eye, it was like it was
That
gonna
would be
look.
really stressful though. I don't know. I was never really big into like competitive games beyond like multiplayer, um, online sort of things, and then like playing with friends, on like death matches and stuff. But uh, from what I've seen, at least for Dota and stuff, it would be like really stressful because the teams that are like really prominent, they're like playing like a ridiculous amount of time a day and pretty much like every day, uh, to be like to be the best. Well, like any sport, you practice a lot and stuff, but for esports, or particularly, it seems like they spend a lot of time, like like a lot of time, like maybe like I saw one person in an interview say like they spend like 18 hours a day practicing in
Wow.
Dota 2 and stuff. I mean, that's like way too much. That'd be way too much for me. I wouldn't do that. That
That's
just doesn't seem like you'd be leading a very happy life.
that's a good point you brought up there. I'll bet you if I had that warehouse, I'd just be dead now because I just wouldn't have eaten for like 4 days or something, and like stood up and
Yeah.
like my heart just stopped. And then
Yeah,
everyone.
like those South Koreans that are at like internet cafes for like 6 days straight and then like dehydrate and stuff. I mean, like I have that problem too, where if I'm like playing a game, I can like go like a really long time, but I couldn't do it on like a daily basis of spending like 18 hours a day constantly playing to train myself to uh, be on a professional team. I mean, I'm sure that's not like the general amount of time spent on esports, but it is a lot. And I don't know if I could be on like a actual team, and I don't even know what uh, game I would play. I mean, the game that I competitor wise that I spent the most on was probably Halo, and I'm sure that that would be a lot easier than something like Dota, where you're most of the time you're really coordinated on a team, and like a lot of the Halo stuff I've seen is more of like a um, more player centric than team centric a lot of the time. But yeah, that was pretty much all I had to say on esports.
Well, my next topic is rainy day games. Games that you
Oh,
would
really?
probably, yeah. Games that you could probably 100% just in a day's sitting when for some reason you feel totally apathetic to the games that you usually play habitually and nothing else is just doing it. You just need something else. Uh, Good example is the game The Swapper. I don't know if you've played it or heard of it, but
You said Swaver?
the Swapper.
Oh, no, I haven't heard of that.
Well, basically, the mechanics of the game are you're like a space explorer, and you're on a ship that something happened to it, and it's kind of a little 2D and 3D kind of mixed together, whereas like a bit of a side scroller, but you have copies of yourself that you can switch places with, and they make all the exact same moves as you, so they run in parallel, and you have to solve all kinds of puzzles. It's pretty good.
Hmm. Yeah. As far as rainy day games go for me, it's sort of hard because a lot of the games I play are like JRPGs and stuff that takes like 60 hours to complete and things like that. I mean, the closest I played to that recently is like some of those first person shooters and stuff that have really short stories. Or let me pull up my Steam real quick because I might have games that I'm forgetting. Oh, speaking of games, I have I guess the closest that I've played to that would be games like those puzzle games, sort of like sort of like Bejeweled and stuff, like the Bejeweled
Bejeweled.
clones and stuff, like the Match 3 is what I meant to say.
Wait, say that one more time.
I said like Match 3 type games, or stuff like that, because a lot of the games on my Steam are like really long games. Now that I'm looking at it, like I have like the Legacy of Kain collection, Blood Omen and Blood Omen 2, or the Elder Scrolls Skyrim, Morrowind, Oblivion, stuff like that. But I mean, like my rainy day game, sort of like my game that I play if I just have nothing else to play, is I've told you, is Pokemon. That's just a game that I can like just sit and waste time on.
Yeah. So, how many Pokemon do you have?
A ridiculous amount. I mean, on just one. See, for the latest game that I've been playing for Omega Ruby, I have like, I don't even know, like maybe like 20 boxes full and stuff, because that's one of the ones that I'm trying to, or well, I actually already have that I tried to get the full Pokédex for, which takes like, you need if you want them in your PC, it's like 700 and what is it? 20 something, 720 something, I think. A lot is what I'm saying. And then I have like multiple Pokemon games, so it's like multiply that by a certain amount.
What about do you have like any clever names for your Pokemon?
I try to, if they're like competitive, I try to like put in some like for Arceus, which is one of the legendary Pokemon, and one of the hardest to get because it it was only released in like events and stuff. I named it Aldrim. I don't know. I forget how you pronounce it, like Aldrim Malik or something, which is a like ancient Jew, ancient. I think it's ancient Jew, ancient Hebrew. God, sort of like goat god sort of thing that I forget if it was thunder or something that it controls. The reason I didn't know that at the time, but the reason I chose it is because it was one of the Final Fantasy 12 espers that you get.
Huh.
Which espers are summons in that game. And it just looked a lot like Arceus, so that was one of the reasons I gave it that name. And then like sometimes I nickname Pokemon like after like anime characters or video game characters.
Shinji the Raikou.
I don't know if I would.
I don't know if I would
Nickname
name a Raikou
Raikou
that.
Shinji. I would name like a Igglypuff Shinji or something. If we're thinking of the same Shinji.
I don't know. Or are we thinking
I'm
of?
thinking of the Ava Shinji.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like a baby, pretty much, because Igglypuff is the baby form of Jigglypuff. But anyway, getting back to the topics, was that it for your topic? Did you have any rainy games that you play a lot, or games that you play when you don't have anything else to play?
Yeah, it's the Swapper's a good one. Grow Home has been pretty good. There's actually this game called Waves, where it's just like it's one of those over the top like shooter games where you just fight perpetual waves of enemies from like a top down kind of scenario. Every once in a while, I'll play that just to fill up time if for some reason I just feel too apathetic to everything else. I got to finish The Vanishing of Ethan Carter too. That game is almost more interesting to me because of how it was made, where they use like photogrammetry, which is where you take like a camera, take pictures of something from different angles, and it assembles the object into the game. Pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of these games I have not heard of. Are these all like indie games on Steam?
I think so.
Yeah, that's
What about Rust?
Most of the games that I get on Steam are like either games I already played on console or like big open world type games and stuff. Except for, like I said, those match 3 games. For some reason, I find those pretty fun to just waste time on. Oh, and have you ever played Hearthstone, the card game?
No.
It's that card game that Blizzard made. That's sort of like Blizzard's answer to like Magic the Gathering and what's the other popular card game that I'm forgetting right now?
Mm,
There was another online trading card game, but yeah, mostly Magic the Gathering. But it's interesting. I mean, I that's another game that it's pretty much all. I mean, there's single player. What's called they're like single player instances, but those are like really easy to do. Most of the time you spend on that is just playing against other people because like like typical trading card game stuff where you're opening packs, trying to get like a certain like build a deck that you like, and then going against other people. It's pretty fun. I haven't played it in months now that I think about it. I just got tired of running into people with like really overpowered decks. But yeah, that would be a rainy day game, I guess.
have you played anything from the Bit Trip series?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's basically like a side-scrolling platformer game. It's kind of like those levels of Mario where you're on the rails and you have to keep moving forward because if you hit the back of the screen, you die. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like the whole game is basically like that, and you kind of have to like play your character in tune to the music of the game, and it's actually pretty hard. Every once in a while, I play that on a rainy day, but I get frustrated and I just have to stop after a while.
Have you ever played any of the like Guitar Hero Rock Band games?
I did. It's been many years, but I played a bit. I wasn't great.
Yeah, that
It
was
all right.
that was me. I haven't played that in years either, but that would be something I would classify as a rainy day game. I actually got pretty good at it, like where I could consistently play on expert. But I mean,
Just
You can only go so far in that game.
you're just impressing everybody with your through the fire and the flames on expert every time.
I only tried that a couple of times, and I don't think I ever completed it on expert. I completed it on hard, but not on expert.
I mean, that's still pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think I got really far in it either. I got probably maybe 10% of the way through the song. I don't know.
Don't get cocky, Will.
I was just you're using the reference from Star Wars where he says that, right?
Yeah.
We're thinking of the same movie, right, where that happened.
Me? Oh, yeah, of course. where he flips around and he's got his headset on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking that, but I was like, I don't know if we're getting that same reference or if, but anyway, is that it for your topic, or
Yeah, that's pretty
did you have
much it.
anything else? All right. Continuing with the series of video game review topics, this week I wanted to do Star Ocean Till the End of Time. I wanted to shorten it because I feel like in the last live stream that we did, I was rambling on and on and on about Kingdom Hearts. So I took less notes and wanted to get your impression a little bit more. But have you heard of the Star Ocean series at all before I start?
Yeah, the first time I ever saw it, I was in a used game store, and every time I went there, I saw it, and I told myself I was going to buy the game every time, and then I'd always get something else, and I did that 20 times.
Yeah, my story, my background with Star Ocean series is pretty similar to that, except for it was a Blockbuster that I was going to, because I used to rent games when I was a kid, because my parents had a Blockbuster membership where every I think it was every month, or it might have been every week. I don't remember, but it was where you would get a coupon that was a free game rental or something, and so I would go in and rent games for the PS2 and stuff, and then the Xbox when that came out. But yeah, the Star Ocean Till the End of Time is the third Star Ocean game. It's the first game I played. There's been 4 so far. Mainstay ones. I think there's been a couple spin-offs, but actual main series games, there's been 4, and they're developing a 5th one that's coming out next year, early next year, I think. In ways similar to Kingdom Hearts, has a real-time action-oriented combat. Instead of combos, though, most of the special moves are specific abilities. One of them in Star Ocean Until the End of Time was something called Sidekick, where the character that you had that equipped on would do a dodge and then a kick that would do extra damage and stuff. And the way combos are, well, not combos, but abilities were mapped is you would choose I think up to 3, and then have those on shortcuts on the controller, under circle, square, or triangle, I think, and then R2 and L2, if I remember correctly. But yeah, combat in this game is really fun. In Star Ocean Till the End of Time, specifically, it's not seamless transitions into combat like Kingdom Hearts. It's more of the traditional JRPG. There's enemy on the overworld. You walk into it, and that takes you to a battle screen, and then you proceed to wail on them. The combat's really fun. Never really got stale or overstayed its welcome, and I've played most of the Star Ocean games besides the original. Star Ocean, like I said, Star Ocean Till the End of Time was the first one that I had. experience, and probably the one that I have the most nostalgia for. Um, the, I don't want to say it has the best combat because that's the newest one, Star Ocean: The Last Hope for Xbox 360 and PS3, but it, 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 it's really polished. It's sort of hard to describe unless you're like watching what the combat looks like. A lot of people compare it to the Tales of series because it's really similar combat to that. I don't know if you've played either of these series, so I don't know if you have experience with that type of combat.
I remember playing Tales of Symphonia a little bit at a friend's house.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to that kind of combat if I'm remembering Tales of Symphonia correctly, but yeah, you also have a lot of freedom besides like because it's not like in traditional JRPG fashion where your character doesn't move and then you're like going through options like attack or magic or something like that. Although there is like like I said, the way it's split is like you have like a general attack and then like a magic menu, but it's under like a radial menu where it like pauses combat and then you go through the options of like if you want to use magic, which is called symbology, or escape, or use items or stuff like that, or like directing party members, which you can switch who you're playing pretty much on the fly. Um, Although party sizes are limited to 4, I believe, until the end of time, even though there are like more party members, but you can only have like 4 active at a time. That's pretty much all I have for gameplay, and um, because I only want to really give the basics of it. A really noticeable thing about Star Ocean into Time is the soundtrack is amazing in this game. If you ever want to listen to like some weird mix of Japanese techno pop type of thing, I would recommend listening to some of the tracks in this. They also have really interesting name titles like this isn't in this game, but the battle theme for Star Ocean: The Last Hope is something called like Blood on the Keys or something. Um, they're really energetic themes, and I enjoy them a lot. I would definitely give this overall sound design a big plus. Going into like story specifics, like I think I told you before, the Star Ocean series is pretty much Star Trek, the JRPG version. Um, the actual story of the Star Ocean series is told through like multiple centuries. Um, so from main protagonist to main protagonist, the connections aren't really that strong besides the first 2 games, because I believe the main character for the second game is like the son of one of the characters from the previous game, but like then it jumps like I don't even know how, like I think several hundred years into the future for the next for Star Ocean until the end of time, and then Star Ocean: The Last Hope is like a prequel, I think, to the series, which then is like hundreds of years earlier. So like beyond the actual Federation, there's nothing really connecting like the main protagonist and like the overall like I guess villains of the series, which I'm not going to go into. Um, the final thing I just wanted to talk about was the actual length of the game, because this is a pretty meaty JRPG. I think the fastest playthrough for me, which was which was me sort of speeding, well, not really speeding through the game, but in the sense of like not doing like a lot of grinding and not like hunting for items and stuff. I think it was like 40 hours or sometime around then. But yeah, if I take a quick gander, just because I want to have a point of reference for. I just want to have a reference to this because I don't want to give any false information. Yeah, the average for the main story is the popping up as 47 hours and 33 minutes. Most of the completionist time, the average is 695 hours.
God, holy crap!
Yeah, but I don't
That
even
is
know.
meaty.
I don't. I mean, like there's the tab under main story and extras, which is like 99 hours, but I pretty much completed the game, and I think it only took me around 100 hours. But and I guess I don't understand what completionist is in that game. I guess that's like getting every single item max type of thing. Like I don't even know, but yeah, you can spend a lot of time in the game, and it's really fun. So time flies, and that's pretty much it for my little mini review. I wonder if I can. I'm experimenting right now. Wait a second. Most of the trailers look like they're in Japanese, but I was just gonna get your opinions on it. If you do just like a quick Google search of Star Ocean Till the End of Time, and then like an image search, you can sort of get an idea for the art style and everything. It was one of those like early PS2 shell. I don't even know how you described it because it's not really shell shaded, but it's like that weird soft CGI type of stuff. They look a lot like anime characters if you see any of it.
Yeah, I'm looking up pictures now. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but overall, I would definitely.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Hopefully.
Hello? Hello?
You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Alright, I was just wondering.
Yeah, it got real. It was dead silent for a while there.
Well,
But,
did you have?
I have a recommendation.
Oh, you do? Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
do.
completely forgot about recommendations.
Yeah, I thought that's what we were doing. I was just like, oh man, he went and reviewed it. He was like gameplays. He just did the whole thing. I was like,
Yeah.
maybe,
Well,
yeah.
I sort of, I guess, tied with recommendations. I don't know if I'm going to continue doing it, but I'll probably do it for one more because I have one that I want to talk about that I think you'll uh, have thoughts on. But what I was thinking of was like having like a topic that's sort of like a mini review type of thing, but I don't know if I'm going to continue doing that because I feel I feel like I ramble way too much.
We'll see.
You were saying recommendations.
I recommend the game Besiege, which is kind of like a real-time strategy, but it's basically like a build your own machine game where you put together some kind of working vehicle or cannon or weapon out of parts, and based on the strength of the mechanisms you've designed, you can get through an area. But it's got a realistic physics engine, and a lot of your inventions usually end up not working because you put a part in the wrong spot, so it blows up or something, and it's pretty fun.
And this is on Steam, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Taking up I'm pulling it up real quick because I just want to see it. You said the Siege?
Besiege.
Oh, Besiege. Yeah. Looks interesting. Is this early access?
I don't think so anymore.
Because I was just looking on the Steam page and it had early access if we're talking about the same game. Did you have any other recommendations?
No, it is an early access game.
Did you have any other recommendations?
Another one I would recommend is Retro City Rampage.
I have heard of that.
Yeah, it's kind of like Grand Theft Auto, but more like if the modern Grand Theft Autos were Super Nintendo games, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty fun one. It's you won't put a lot of hours into it because you'll get bored eventually, but here and there, it's a good one. Just driving around, destroying everything, and it's filled with a lot of pop culture references that are fun.
All right. Did you have any like movies or TV shows that you want to recommend?
Did I recommend Fargo already? I think I did.
I think you did, because the only reason I bring that up is because I did have a show that I wanted to recommend, but I didn't want to go into mine before you finished.
Nothing that's jumping out to me right now.
All right. Well, I had 2 games and a TV show that I wanted to recommend, which the first one I guess I already went into at length was, I guess, Star Ocean Till the End of Time. PS2 game. It's great. The other game that I wanted to recommend is, you probably played it, but I was gonna do this for posterity's sake. Then was Warcraft 3. Have you played it?
I have.
All right. Then I guess this is just a recommendation to the audience that if you haven't played Warcraft 3, go and play it. It's a fun game.
You haven't lived. You haven't lived.
It's a really good story, too. The TV show that I want to recommend, I don't know do you have access to Netflix?
Not
because it's on Netflix, I'm pretty sure.
What is it?
It's Luther, the BBC show with Idris Elba.
Yeah, I've seen the first 2 seasons.
Oh, so you've already watched it then?
Yeah, I have. It's pretty good.
Let me do a quick. Let me just make sure it's still on Netflix, because I don't want to say I don't want to recommend it if it's still there. If it's yep, it's still on there. Yeah, but Luther, really good. crime drama, I would say, with hints of thriller. I'm trying to remember what how I stumbled onto it. It was probably like when I was looking for like a good BBC show to watch, which is another thing I'm looking for is a good BBC show to watch. I still need to see the British version of House of Cards.
Oh man, I gotta catch up with the American version myself.
Season 3 wasn't that great. If you haven't seen it yet, though,
Have not.
that's all I'll say about it. First 2 seasons are really good, though. Did now that we're like I guess winding down and we're just like shooting the shit. Did you see what's it called? The newest Marvel series, Jessica Jones?
No. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I don't know. It just doesn't look that great to me. I mean, I like David Tennant. There's nothing that's like hooking me to make me want to watch it to more than something I'd rather watch.
Yeah, I didn't think it would. I mean, I saw the first episode and then part of the second episode. It's interesting, but like, didn't really appeal to me that much. It'd be interesting to see how it ties into Luke Cage, because I will say the guy that plays Luke Cage is good. All the cast in it is pretty good. It's just like I think the overall writing is what brings it down a little bit. I'm looking on do you know there's Doctor Who on Netflix?
Yeah.
What season is Doctor Who on currently? Like 10 or something like that?
Yeah, it's like 9 or 10.
Because I was just interested because I saw it was on Netflix before, but I think it was like the oldest ones, like the really old ones. But it looks like they put like the newer ones. It says 2014, so I'm assuming that's like last year's. It's up to. Let me see under episode. Yeah, but I guess we can in the live stream if you have nothing else to say.
All right, everybody. That's Watkins and Osterholt. We'll be back next week. It's gonna be a hoot and a holler. Woohoo! The end. Everything ends.